Mr. DaCosta, thank you for joining us today. I think it's important to remember that single-engine piston planes are used for more than just passenger flight. Crop dusters commonly used on farms across the country, like the AT-802, are also single-engine piston planes. And there are a lot of agricultural applications that are performed by these planes across the state of Nebraska. If we're serious about addressing the issue, we do need innovation, and we need the industry to lead the way towards finding solutions away from leaded fuel for single-engine piston planes. But I do fear that a top-down regulatory decision from the EPA to ban these leaded aviation fuel options would have some serious ramifications. Imagine the effects of grounding crop dusters and much of rural general aviation. It would be devastating for both ag communities in Nebraska and for the prices of corn and other crops across the country. The last thing we need right now, at a moment of uncertainty and already historically gas prices, is bad rulemaking that drives Americans' grocery bills even higher. To the witness, I would ask, Mr. DaCosta, Swift Fuels is working to develop an unleaded alternative fuel for small planes. I know that you've described kind of where you're working. Can you reiterate for me the timeline with which you think you could be successful, or that the industry could be successful, so that we could allow the market to work here?
So just to clarify, the Eagle program put a 2030 deadline on the timeline to have unleaded fuel, but Swift Fuels is working on a 3-year deadline. So we believe we'll have fleet-wide approval of our entire 100-octane solution within 3 years. And in fact, we believe that sometime next year, 2023, we will have introduced the 100-octane fuel into specific locations across the country to further kind of the transitional stepping stone process to get the fuel into hands of people where they can experience it as a part of the rollout process. So Swift Fuel says 100-octane fuel in 2023 with a full fleet-wide envelopment of the United States by 2025, and that we think we could be global 2 years after that.
So when you list those deadlines, does that also mean the certification of those fuels and the regulatory burden that you carry?
That is the certification, yes, sir. That is the certification along with the industry endorsement of the ASTM specifications and the OEM endorsements of the fuel from all the major OEMs that I've given examples of. All of those have to happen for the fuel to get into the market. If they don't, then what will happen is the industry will step up and stop it, because they can tell their pilot, the people who own their engines and their airframes, don't do that. And no pilot wants to fly if the industry says don't do that.
Thank you very much for your testimony. The National Academy of Sciences released a report in 2021. I think it's important to note it found there was no single option that could guarantee lead's full elimination from aviation fuel. So I do believe we need to rely on innovation, technology, and our robust system of private enterprise to help solve the problem. We also need to ensure that what we can do to reduce the regulatory burdens on firms trying to develop the next generation of these fuels will have an impact on how far we can go. So this is not the time for top-down sweeping federal bans. This has ag applicators in my state concerned. Certainly understand that lead exposure poses serious health risks to human beings, but we have to find solutions, and I appreciate your time, Mr. DaCosta, and your testimony. I yield back.